interview interesting people doing interesting things where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. What a day to start a pirate broadcast. And we have a new pirate in the room. Chris Stone is with us today. We're going to be talking about, join us and figure it out, because we're going to be talking about a few different things, right?
Right.
Chris,
yeah.
good morning. How are you doing, my friend?
Good morning, Russ, man. I'm a fan. I'm so happy I can now be officially a pirate. I can tell pirate jokes now. That's all I was just waiting to be a pirate so I could tell pirate jokes. And
what kind of socks do you have on?
Argyle. There you go. That's the only pirate joke I really know. So
that's okay. We only need one.
I've waited all my life to tell a pirate joke on the pirate broadcast with Russ Johns. Thanks for having me, man. This is special. And, you and I have known each other not that long, but I feel like we have longer. And, even when we were just sort of like, kibitzing before this thing even started, I didn't even know that you were in the music business. You were a drummer.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And you were in the music business as well. I think you were on the other side of the conversation, though, weren't you? Were you?
I was on multiple sides.
Yeah.
I was the one that I was in bands. I played mostly bass.
Okay.
And just like a lot of bass players that you talk to, they end up playing bass because most bands need a bass player, right? That somebody cool like you plays drums. There's usually a sexy singer and a guitar player, and it's like we need a bass player. It's only got 4 strings. Just play the same notes as the guitar player at the top, that kind of thing.
Just follow out where his fingers are going.
Yeah, but I fell in love with the instrument, and I've been in bands like you, since I was like 15, and playing mostly sort of rock and alternative, but have just a varying interest in all kinds of genres. But when I was in bands and we were doing these little tours and stuff I was the one that was doing all the business. The guys in the bands that I was in, I think they wanted to contribute, but I just loved doing the business part of the music. I loved talking to club owners and booking gigs and putting together flyers. And, back when flyers, you put them up on telephone poles and all that.
Tabletops.
Exactly. Talking to college radio stations, setting up interviews, all of that stuff I really got into. Yeah. And I think I got pretty good at it in the bands that I was in. It probably helped me get more gigs with other bands, because it was like, if we bring him in, and that eventually helped me get a job in the music industry. And I started working for Sony while I was still in college in Nashville. And eventually that dream of being a rock star and the actual tug of life and family and responsibility, one sort of overtakes the other. And I moved down to Atlanta and took a job to manage, the Southeast branch for Sony. So kind of cut those band ties at that point and grew up and cut my hair and decided to still be in the music business because I had such a passion for it. And I still love music. It's still in my DNA. It's still a part of everything that I do. And even though I'm technically not in the music business per se, what I'm doing now is it completely.
Well, it's very parallel. And I think it really boils down to media, Chris. One of the things that I loved about the music industry. In fact, when I moved to Houston, I actually went out and performed dubstep. It's like,
oh, really?
Yeah,
awesome.
I broke out some, because when I fell in '87 and shattered my arm and transitioned from a drummer to just programming music, I went into electronic music, and that's why I got into technology. Was I wanted to learn MIDI, I wanted to learn programming, it's like I could be a band without having to be a band member.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, we're kind of dating ourselves right now, but I always thought to myself when I was younger, if I had the software and the access to what kids now have in order for music creation. I mean, like even just the basic garage band that comes with a Mac
Yeah.
is a million times better than the crap that we had when we were young that came on 68 floppy disks that we had to load into our Commodore 64 computer, right?
Exactly. Well, it's really amazing. And so you've seen, like myself, you've seen the transition and everything taking place in the music industry, in the media. And the pirate broadcast is one element of that, because in the FCC days, if you were broadcasting without a license, you were considered a pirate broadcaster.
Right.
And now we don't need permission, so we're all pirates. And the pirate community is kindness, and we all exude this idea that kindness is cool and smiles are free in this pirate community. And we're all swimming in the same sea, and we're all floating around on the same rock. But ultimately, we have an opportunity to share our media, share our mission, our gifts, everything that goes along with that. And you're doing the same thing. We've transitioned into live streaming now and sharing this media out and assisting and supporting a lot of people out in the industry that may not necessarily have another alternative. And it's really amazing to me what we can accomplish. So tell us about your journey, Chris. How did you evolve from the music business into live streaming? What brought you to live streaming?
Yeah, I have. It's a weird little thing, and I worked with Sony for like 27 or so years, and I like I said, I loved music, still love music.
Mhm.
It's just that it was my job to work particular music,
Mhm.
and there was a small slice of the music that I was working that I truly felt and was passionate about. And the other, I worked just as hard on that stuff because
Mhm.
it was my job, and I had the integrity, and I wanted to do a good job, and I learned how to manage that. But I really loved working with artists and creative people that I got to choose.
Mm.
And so I think when people come to me and they say, you were in the music business and now you're working with, motivational speakers and sales trainers, and like it's like you're in a completely different medium. And like you said, it's not. These folks are creative
Yep.
people, and when you know that you need a live show, when you know you need a podcast, when you know that you want to create a virtual summit, an event for your brand, you just want that. You don't want to know how it works. You don't want to know what happens in the back end. When I worked in the music industry, we handled everything for artists. They just knew that they had to go into the studio, record the best album that they could. The record label would plan out a bunch of stuff, but my job was basically distribution, sales, and marketing, predominantly in the streaming. It ended up being the streaming business, and worked with Spotify and a number of other streaming partners.
Uh-huh.
But it was my job to make them look and sound good. So when their album came out, it was everywhere. You could see there was features, there was banners, there was all kinds of stuff. So that's what I do for these other people. If they need a video, they need a live show, they need something, I can help them tell that story. And I get to, like I said, choose. It's not like I am giving something that I'm just not passionate about.
Yeah. Well, and the reality is that the same analogy holds true. It's like, okay, I just want a sandwich. I don't want to have to go to the farm, be a butcher, and process this thing
Exactly.
to make my sandwich. I don't want to know how the sausage is made. I don't want to know everything about it. I just want to show up and do the work and create the artwork and create the message. And people like you and I that know and understand and appreciate the technology behind it, it's much easier just to call someone like yourself and say, hey, this is this is a good idea. I think we should probably take on it and move this forward.
Yeah.
And same with the Pirate Syndicate. I'm putting this Pirate Syndicate together, and I'm reaching out to people like you and building a community around this so we can help hundreds of people. My goal is I want to produce 100 shows for business owners and individuals and people by the end of the year. And in order to do that, we have to create a community and work together to support more people. And, they can show up, create their media, and we do everything else.
That's it, man. That is exactly it. I mean, it's almost like you and I are on the same wavelength. I've used that line a lot of times with clients that I have now, or potential clients that I didn't get and the line didn't work. But it's basically like, you come out of your trailer, step to your microphone or your camera, do it, go back to your trailer, go back to your regular scheduled life, and we will handle the rest. Yeah. You will have a podcast. You will be in 90 countries. You will be, whatever that they need. And that's the thing is too, is like, we love to do it. Yeah. I can tell after, meeting you, 10 minutes, you were all in, you were totally into it. Yeah. And I love doing it. And you know what I really love, and I know you likely feel the same way, is I get to see their success and feel like I had something to do with that. And it's not my own. I look at someone else and I go, yeah, like they're getting that. I had just like a little inkling to do with it. And I think it came from years in the music industry and seeing platinum success or something from somebody and go, you know what? I put together that marketing plan for, this, and it sold X amount of records or whatever.
My fingerprint is on this brand.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not necessarily that you have to take the stage and be the front of the opportunity. It's, I know that I can contribute to your success. I know that I can contribute to this process. And after 350 episodes, I know that I can create a show that is consistent. It could be on Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Apple, iTunes, YouTube, wherever you want it to be. I can produce a show and get it out to that platform. And the reality is that it's only easy after you know how to do it.
That's right.
And it's a learning curve that's pretty steep for a lot of people. And it's overwhelming. And I want to say hi to a few pirates in the room. Mike Baker in from Florida. Love that you're here, Mike. It's always good to see you. And I'm not sure, I'm saying J Dell, I'm not sure where your name is on this. So let me know, JD. So, and then Tracy, she's the producer of this show.
Tracy was awesome. Like she was on top of things. Shout out to Tracy on top of it. Yeah. Great, email correspondence. I mean, everything was clear. I know that that's not an easy job. It really isn't. And I got to give you some credit, Russ, too, for this process that you've set. I mean, you go live 5 times a week. Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane. Really, if you think about it, it's insane. But to your point, it's like, if you put together the process and you do the work, of course, the first time you went live wasn't your best, right? Second one was better. Third one was better, right? And then eventually it's like, you're humming, man. You're doing the reps. And, all of a sudden it is 350 episodes in.
I'm closing in on 350. Awesome. And I purposely didn't really, I didn't number all my episodes just because, I see these hosts on podcasts and say, yeah, I talked to Jim on episode 259, and we talked about,
it's like, who's counting me?
Rushes, and it's like, how do they know that when they're on the podcast or they're going live? It's like, I don't have that brain. I have to have systems. I create systems. I create processes. That's my golden gift. It's like,
do you think people care about episode numbers? I mean, I think I think if you want to shout out on it, if you're a podcaster and you've got like 400 episodes and you want to talk about a previous episode and you want to help people find it, maybe, I guess you could say, on episode 178, I talked to Russ about being a pirate or whatever. So that way somebody could do that. And maybe, you put the link in the show notes or whatever. But I think for the most part, are people really, is it a thing? Is it badges of honor or like what?
Well, it does show consistency. A lot of podcasters, they start out really excited. They do about 10 episodes, 7 to 10 episodes, and they say, nobody's watching my show. What am I doing? Why am I investing this time?
Oh, yes.
And then it's called pod fade. It's a real thing. It's pod fade. And there's over 1 million episodes out there. So a million podcasts out there now, which is a small number compared to blog posts, right? Oh, and I remember the days when people say, well, I don't know that I really need a website because my people aren't really on the internet, It's like, my people really aren't, my customers really aren't on email because they don't do email. It's like, hey, I own a fax machine too. But ultimately, the reality is that we have an opportunity to build a community. And here's Jim. Jim, thanks. You guys are doing some great work out there too.
Talk about my partner in crime. So
shenanigans
Jim
out
Hughes
there.
and I, we met just over 1 year ago, and we met in real life, IRL, at a Podcast Atlanta meetup, which shout out to Mark Deal and Podcast Atlanta. The largest group on meetup.com. But, something's happened over the past year. So physical meetups are, have altered and changed just a little bit. But
slightly.
So Jim and I met once, and then I saw him at the second event, maybe a month later. And, we sort of connected and we, talked. And it was like one of those deals where, business card, who knows, kind of thing. I don't know if this is going to be a thing or not. And then we just eventually had this little Venn diagram where we were showing up in the same sort of groups, networking, masterminds, online. And then all of a sudden we just developed this great friendship. And, we knew that we wanted to work together. We knew at some point, like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but Jim and I we got to figure out a way to work because I really like what Jim does. He's a great person. He's got a great mind for social media. And it's something that I knew that there was a real yin and yang. And there's, you're
now both pirates.
That's right.
Now.
That's right. We both have Argyle socks.
Just saying, Chris.
Yeah, man. So, and so Jim calls me one day and he goes, I watched this video from Ross Brand, and it was him talking about Amazon Live and how to submit for Amazon Live. So he said, I submitted for Amazon Live in their influencer program, and I got accepted in like 15 minutes because, Jim has more Twitter followers than Kim Kardashian. And so, and if you don't follow Jim Hughes on Twitter, I mean, what are you thinking? Right. Russ, we had a conversation, Russ, for maybe 2 hours that day. By the end of that 2 hours, we had a show name, we had a logo. He already had a list of guests that we were going to have on our show, because on Amazon Live, if you watch Amazon Live, most of the content still now is people applying makeup, like a home shopping network, like a QVC thing. And Jim and I said, this is not what we're going to do. We're going to do what we do. What we do is we talk to pirates. We talk to people that like to take apart things and put them back together. And usually there's like a couple of pieces left over, but that's okay. But like tech people in the industry, people and everyone buys stuff on Amazon so they can just talk about the stuff that they use, the books that they've written, all of that stuff. And so we had that show, and we've done it since July, and it's been fun. Financial stuff and the opportunities that Dealcasters Live has created aside, we just have a blast. We really do have fun. And that's, if it wasn't fun, Russ, I don't think I'd do it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the message, here's the two nuggets of knowledge to take away from that fact is that one, you connected with somebody with a like-minded attitude and an ambition to get started. 2 hours and you had everything going up. It's like, take action, get started, and then enjoy it. It's not necessarily, don't turn your excitement into a work task. Go with the flow and make sure that it's enjoyable. It's progress over perfection every single day.
Yes.
It's really one of those things that you have to really think about and reflect on and say, I don't have to be perfect in this. I just have to make progress. And eventually, like any instrument, like learning the bass or learning the drums, your first few sessions may not necessarily sound as good as your last few sessions. So
what about your first dubstep session? I want to hear about your first dubstep gig.
Oh, well, it was interesting because I was just, in fact, I'm doing this right now because I'm working on my, I'll answer your question, but I'm going to come back to this. I'm starting my third musical adventure now on the iPad. I'm doing iOS based music. I got Ableton and I got Pro Tools and I got all that stuff. And so I'm doing iOS based ambient electronic music, and I want to use it for background music for a show that I got where I'm going to be talking about like a narrative, not necessarily poetry, but a speaking kind of thing. This whole idea that I got is what I'm going to do is create the music while I'm talking and use it as a YouTube show after I get to a certain point. And then I thought, well, I should probably document my journey and do that already. And it's kind of the same thing I did in Houston. I was just itching to do something different, something out of the box that I wasn't normally doing because I was running radio shows and I was streaming high school varsity sports live, Chris, over the internet to an AM radio station. So that's an entire different story. But I was kind of bored. I wanted to do something else. So I learned, I got a Akai APS 40, I think is what it's called. And it's like LinkedIn, and then you can program some loops. And then I had these loops programmed. And then they had these events in Houston where you could go up and you could play for a couple of, 2 or 3 songs, and you could go up and play sets. And then I did a couple of creative shows in museums with some other artists that were there. They would do the visual graphics, and then I would do the DJ for the event, and just kind of a fun venture out into music land, doing something creative.
Yeah.
And, it was amazing because I got into electronic music in Seattle, where it was they had the festival there. It was there for a number of years. They had music all over the city. You go to different venues and it was all electronic music, and it was just kind of cool. So now I'm going to come back and I'm full circle, and my goal is to play a large event like in my 70s or something like that. So
that's incredible because I love how you have this vision for something that you're creating that's audio and video, and then you're creating music into that. And I think there's a lot of people right now that are just like taking music and they're just trying to bolt it on to whatever they're doing. And whenever I'm working with people, music is a huge part of what I do.
yeah.
It's, and people don't realize how important that is. I mean, we've got Jim that we've talked about already, but I did the intro video for the Tim and Jim show before their 100th episode, and Jim gave me a bunch of episodes that they had done. They did 99, right? And so I'm like, dude, you're gonna have to give me like top 10 or something so I can pull some highlights or whatever. Yeah. So I was cobbling together this video, and you have to sync this video with music. And it just, in order for it to flow right. And I sent it over to Tim and Jim. And of course, they thought it was awesome, but they were like, it's just, the music is not, it isn't, pumping enough. And I'm like, okay. And so 15 minutes later, they sent me a track. Of course, it's a licensed track, and I'm sure we'll hear it one day on a butter commercial or something. But but I had to go back to the drawing board with that song, because I knew when I heard it that this is what they wanted. This is their audio brand. I don't think people think enough about their audio brand as much as their visual, their logo, their color schemes, like all that stuff that we do, right? For people on live streaming, like what you have here, obviously the brand here, totally on point. Love it. You've got a whole thing, the intro, very concise. You've got the, and the music, like it's the audio brand is such a huge component that I think people miss out when they're putting stuff together.
Yeah. And it's not easy. When I was doing radio shows I had my own show in Houston. It's called the Fort Bend Spotlight. And I did all my intros and outros. I created my own music for all the intros and outros and commercials and all of that stuff. And just because, number one, I knew that I didn't have to worry about licensing because I created it.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, okay, it was a thumbprint, it's a fingerprint. It's that idea that, okay, I have a piece of this going forward out into the world. And it's just something that I can say, hey, I did this, it's like fun. It's just a part of the process. So, hey, I want to say hi to Russ Hedge. Chris Stone is awesome. See you, a pirate. Thank you so much. Mike Baker says appreciation for one another. And Russ Hedge says, Russ and Chris, you both are doing amazing things. Thank you, Russ. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, man. He's the inspiration specialist and author of Befuddled. Live the life you choose. Go pick it up. It's in stores now. How about that, Russ?
Awesome. Fantastic. And then Hyatt Ives in from Houston. I'm late in here. Good morning, fellow pirates. And here, we got an answer back. Thank you. My name is George Del Coral Sauce. Is that correct?
I think we pronounced that Jorge.
Jorge.
Or, if you're from Utah, George.
Yeah, I'm from Utah. It's like St. George. Thank you so much for being here, Jorge.
Oh, man.
I really appreciate you. And from Spain. We have an international audience.
That's like 4 names.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Fantastic. Progress, and having fun doing it. Angie Schumann, my hero. She actually introduced me to Tracy. So she's popping in to say a quick hello, pirates. Thank you so much. She's a supporter. Anita's here. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you so much. I haven't used music in my video. How much is it for the licensed music? Well, if you go to, you can use a couple of platforms. Epidemic Sound is one. Audio Hero is another one. You can actually, here's a pro tip. You can actually go on YouTube in their library and select and filter down to license available for professional use without any licensing requirements. If there's something in there you can find, you can use it, and it won't get blocked. It won't get taken off the airwaves. So,
and Anita, it's like, most of them are anywhere from $15 to $30 a month. It really just depends. If you just want one track, like for someone like me, I need music. I need multiple tracks throughout the month, so it makes sense for me to pay a subscription.
Yeah.
But individual tracks, I think it's probably like that, and then you just get something in perpetuity. And Vado is another.
Vado is another platform. Stuff. Well, Chris, this has been. I'm glad we got to hang out a little bit more. It's an opportunity to actually connect and have a conversation that, just a few people listening in. It's like the coffee shop, only it's a bigger coffee shop.
Yeah, man. That's the way I treated it. I was like, okay, awesome. I get to talk to Russ Johns today. Oh, yeah. And other people, get to listen in from all over the world. That's awesome, man. I appreciate the opportunity. I love, kindness, smiles are free. I love the whole pirate deal. I can't believe I am one, man. I'm stoked. I feel like I'm going to go wake up my wife and tell her that I'm a pirate, and she'll give me the look she normally does.
Don't drop my name into the equation. I don't care what Russ says. Well, Chris, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you and the things that you and Jim are doing. And I have yet to venture down the path of the Amazon Live influencer program. However, I have bought enough gadgets and gadgets around here that I could probably talk about it.
We need to have we'll have a little side chat, dude. You would be fantastic.
Yeah,
absolutely would be fantastic. It's really just, you could probably just like turn the camera on your desk and just start talking about stuff.
It's like this piece. Look at this fine piece of equipment here.
Exactly. Well, only $6.79.
I don't know.
2 days.
I'm an experimenter. It's like, okay, I want certain things a certain way, and it's like I get this set up, and it's like I have it in my brain, like this TV here. Everybody's saying, "Hey, a green screen." It's like I put up a real screen because I wanted to be able to swap it out, make it color corrected if I need to, and it's just fun. It's just fun. So
yeah, and you don't have to worry about your head suddenly, like your ears are missing, the kind of stuff.
My shirt color turning to the background.
Exactly.
Well, Chris, thank you so much. Tracy's going to say you guys are over time, so it's like we can wrap it up. Go on.
I'm sorry, Tracy.
Yeah, and thank you so much for doing all the work that you do, Tracy. Thank you, Chris, for being here. And everyone, please remember, if this was helpful, if you found benefit in it, like and share it. There's a lot of people that haven't found the Pirate Broadcast yet. And I know that there are people out there, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn Live. Go subscribe, like and subscribe to this stream, and help other people out and get to know the pirate community. So it's awesome. And as always, kindness is cool. Smiles are free. And you enjoy your day. Take care, Chris.
See you, Russ.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate Syndicate today.